it would have been better for them never to have known the way of righteousness than to have known it and turned away. That is talking about someone forfeiting their salvation.
It says the way of righteousness. What's the way of righteousness? Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. The early church was called the way. These are people who left the faith.
Now, some argue that this is only applying to the false teachers, not to their audience. Whoever it's speaking of, these are people who actually did come to the knowledge of the truth.
Now, some people claim 2 Peter 2, 20-21 teaches that believers can lose their salvation. But the passage is about the unsaved false teachers from beginning to end. Those that deny Christ yet try to live these religious lives end up worse than they began. Peter refers to false teachers in the plural, they, them, theirs, and that trend continues even into verses 20-22. In verse 19, the word they twice refers to these false teachers who promise freedom, but they themselves are slaves to corruption. Thus, the antecedent for they in verse 20 logically follows as the false teachers. That's the plain reading. It's not the ones being deceived by the false teachers, because Peter's warning believers in this chapter about false teachers. The latter end is worse than the beginning, could be understood as earthly or eternal judgment, but it never assumes that the people facing this judgment were ever saved. So they might appear righteous, but they'll always turn back to their sin, and they always remained unclean that entire time, like dogs returning to their vomit or pigs returning to the mud. They were always pigs because they've never been positionally cleansed of their sins. Now, the holy commandment here, they knew, was to believe in Christ, but they rejected it. Their outward religious reformation cannot replace true salvation. True salvation regenerates from the inside, and it makes you a new creature, as 2 Corinthians 5 notes. Now, the pollutions of the world here just encompass sinful behaviors and habits that plague human existence, right? Idols, fornication, lust, malice, as Acts 15:20 notes. So escaping the pollution of the world simply means a lifestyle reformation, an outward moral change. That's not something exclusive to believers. In fact, many professing Christians, including Mormons and even other religions, try to escape the pollutions of the world. So in summary, this chapter is a description of the unsaved. It's not a caution for believers who have obeyed the gospel by believing it. It's not saying they'll lose their salvation if they go back into sin or something to that effect.